Wonderful,
Great. In
wonderful.
fact, I'd like to
That's great.
add
Yes.
insight from a school's perspective. So we actually recently, the principal just called me and said that, you know what, let's get more patents out of the school. She's like, just get me my first patent from the school. And we engaged some professionals, and we got a student had made an irrigation system, a sensor-based irrigation system, and his algorithm got copyrighted. So that was our first one, and we were very clear from school's perspective that you know, we want to promote students to come up with at least 5-10 patents every year. We provide you all the facilities, whatever is needed, plus the fee required that is that goes to the lawyers, and the whole process is also borne by the school. So the whole objective is just do things. And we conducted a couple of sessions with some students and teachers. More than students, even the teachers got very excited because they never knew anything about the patent world. And they said, oh my God, we have ideas. Should we start working? I said, please go ahead, go mad, do whatever you want. So I think we need to build this culture. And like, sir, you initially said that teachers kind of kill the kids' creativity because of...
Why teachers? Even parents also. Even
parents, absolutely. We adults. I can empathize with teachers, with parents, everybody, but that's happening. So it's great that government is putting structure to it, because when we were having our internal discussions, the question was, is school going to take anything? So we were clear, we don't want anything. But we heard a lot of stories of complexities, like you had mentioned, about, you know, one success and then everybody starts fighting that who gets what percentage. So great that the government is coming out with guidelines. We as school you know, representatives would love to have that and implemented ASAP.
Right.
And so, I agree with you, Priyanka. And I can tell you, our school kids are so great. If we actually we have to just give them opportunity to show their creativity. Couple of months back, Persistent, I actually organized school hackathon. And I was very, a kid or a group of kids from a very small village near Nasi actually came up with a very innovative tap, you know, for water saving, because theme was water. Huh? And I don't know why we have never people thought about it. So it was a very simple mechanical tap which they came up with to save water. For example, if you want to actually ensure that only 5 liters of water can get dispensed from that tap, they had inside the tap, they had actually designed a screw, you know, which will rotate slowly based on the force. And when the 5 liter actually happens, it goes and it actually gets jammed. So starts moving slowly. And as it goes forward, it actually gets jammed, you know, and by that time the volume is 5 liters.
Super.
So many such ideas are there. The only thing is that, are we really celebrating these ideas?
Yes.
Unfortunately, no.
Unfortunately, no.
And eventually this kid will end up getting into maybe some non-IIT tier 2, tier 3 engineering college, or maybe if he can afford to pay. Otherwise, he may end up doing something which may not be very relevant to his actual potential, you know. I don't know whether you know this Sushant Patnaik, who is a President Award winner. He won his President Award for most innovative kid when he was in 6th standard again. He's a very close friend of mine. He couldn't get into IIT in spite of designing something very phenomenal. Okay.
You are saying he would not?
He could
not. You are saying he would not?
He could
not.
Why? Yeah, because how you get into IIT is by cracking JEE. No? JEE has nothing to do with actual potential, empathy, innovation, emotional quotient, or your actually ability to do engineering. If you can crack JEE, then you get into IIT. So we are also actually looking into some of these things, whether we can have. So we had internally mooted a lot of proposals for some of these lateral entries, non-JEE for some of these candidates. And there are a lot of good deliberations actually happening. because but people are also worried because there is so much competition for these institutes that if you give any discretionary quota, then there will be a huge problem.
So over here, I have one question for you. It's a very short question, just a thought. You mentioned that one of your close friend did not go to IIT, but he's very creative, very phenomenal. And in the Indian society, everybody knows that we have a fad of IITs and IIM graduates, right? We just go for the I. Now, with all of this changing time and everybody is now starting to understand why innovation is so important, why having a patent is so important, do you think we can also have a change in curriculum maybe, where instead of just going after 12th, going for one particular stream, we can choose our own subject based on our interest,
So
kind of like an open platform, kind of like an open platform?
That's what the new education policy is going to actually help you do it. So you can do maths as well as along with that music, you know, or something.
Yes, something like that, right.
So you can do that now. So this new education policy is, so for the last 3 years, Kasturi Rangan, our famous scientist, actually was working on this committee. Then last year, July, this draft was put into public domain for consultations.
Okay.
We got about 1.5 lakh suggestions based on that draft. Okay. Then it was a huge exercise for us to go through all the suggestions. We had big committees actually going through those suggestions. About 8 to 10%. I'm not part of those committees, very honest with you. But about 8 to 10% suggestions were found to be good. And now the draft has been revised. Okay. And has been sent to the Parliamentary Committee on Education also and other people to actually review that draft. But yes, what they are doing is trying to actually break these silos, what you want to say, between science, arts and commerce. Now you can do science and you can do music, or you can, so that is certainly possible. Regarding technical education, which you asked, regarding syllabus and those kind of things, there is a committee under BVR Mohan Reddy, chairman of SCIENT, who was ex-NASSCOM chairman, which is now looking into completely revising the curriculum. The problem is not revision of the curriculum. We can certainly go ahead and revise. You know, today's machine learning, blockchain, or artificial intelligence, or robotics. It's easy to revise, right? Just remove few and put them. The problem is not. Every 3 years, things are going to change. So whether every 3 years you revise everything, yes, to some extent, yes. But what we merely need to focus on is to teach students how to learn. That is a very, very important skill, right? How to learn, okay? So that if you teach him and if you inculcate that habit of how to really learn, not just doing assignments or not, then in due course of time, you are actually teaching him to fish rather than giving him to the fish. You know, so the focus moving forward is going to be how to teach any student how to learn first, okay, in a right way. When I say how to learn, means in a right way, how to ask right kind of questions. You know, that is extremely critical.
Absolutely.
So we are going to actually think, we are doing something, and in next couple of years you will see. These changes have started happening. See, I am from corporate. I get into government now, which is the more lateral entry, right? So things have started to change. It is going to take a couple of more years to actually ensure that new systems come up.